Hi, today I'm going to talk about relationships and I'll show you a very quick way how to check if a relationship is meant to stay longer in your life or if a relationship is meant to go away from your life. It also show you a very quick way to check if you're with what energies will bring to your life being with someone else, whether it's going to be more difficulties or whether it's going to be more love, whether it's going to finally dissolve or whether it's going to stay in your life. But I'm going to go through it much faster if you want. I learned this this from my teacher, Ernst Wilhelm, and if anyone is a more deep student of astrology and wants to know more about this technique, which is extremely telling, they have to go to Ernst's website, which I'm giving above, and where he has recorded videos like instructions, like lessons, and these are probably the most instructive videos on the internet that I've ever found. He's an amazing teacher. I'd recommend him to anyone. But I'm giving you a quick free preview of what you can learn with the ancient techniques of astrology that my teacher Ernst Wilhelm taught me. So now, in order for you to do this, you need to go to my website, astrolada.com, and go to the birth chart calculator, enter your time of birth, place of birth, and everything, and write down the position, not from the chart, but from the little table below it. You'll see it once it comes out. Write the position of Rahu, what sign it is in and what degree, and the position of Ketu, what sign it is in and what degree. Then open another window and go again to the birth chart calculator and enter the information of the person you're interested in. If you don't know time of birth, don't worry. If you don't have the exact time of birth of the person, the only thing that will not be certain in the position of his horoscope is the ascendant sign. So you will disregard the ascendant sign, but you can look at the position of the other planets if you don't know the time of birth. But if you know the time of birth, then you can check the ascendant as well. So it can be any kind of person. It can be love, it can be boss, it can be children, your child or your friend, you know. We can check with this all kind of compatibilities. And once you go to your boss, to the other person's chart, I want you to look down at the table and see if any of his or her planets fall in the same sign as your Rahu or your Ketu. And mark these down, And here I'll make male plus female. Mark those down, and we're going to make a table, and you're going to be comparing how many pluses you have and how many minuses. Some people will actually have no connection with their partner between Rahu and Ketu and the planets of the other person, but some will, and this relationship will be extremely interesting because they're usually karmic relationships, and they're here either to stay or to complete karma from a past life, either to stay for the long run or complete karma. So imagine. And then I want you to check also, go to the chart of the other person and check the position of the other person's Rahu and Ketu, the signs, and then check if you have in your chart any planets in those signs. And we'll see different combinations now. Imagine that, let's start with the more difficult planets and then we'll end with the more positive planets. Imagine that the male Saturn falls in the same sign as the female's Rahu. And Rahu and Ketu are karmic planets. They show Ketu past karma, karma that is resolving, and Rahu shows karma that has to be made, future karma. So Rahu usually is what we get more of if it combines with the planet. Ketu is what we get less of if it combines with the planet. And in some cases this is positive, in some cases this is negative. So if you're the male and your Saturn is with the female's Rahu, or for that reason, if you're a male and your Rahu is with the female Saturn in the same sign, doesn't matter if it's the same degree, it has to be in the same sign. Say male has Mars in Aries and female has Rahu in Aries. And Rahu is something that, Rahu is a magnifying planet. So if it's conjunct your partner Saturn, you'll be getting more and more of Saturn's energies in your life. And Saturn is a very difficult planet. It's a planet of obstacles, difficulties, endurance, discipline, criticism, learning the hard way. And if you're in a long-term relationship, you don't want someone who is like all the time looking up at everything you do and trying to judge you and criticize you, or even if the person is not like that, you'll be getting more difficulties and obstacles in life. Somehow you'll have to resolve difficulties and obstacles. And it will grow more and more with time you spend together. So this is quite negative for long-term relationships. Whether it's male or female, doesn't matter. It's because you bring more Saturn energies, which means enduring, overcoming obstacles, and hardships as well, criticism, hard work. But if you meet a friend, for instance, or a boss whose Saturn falls on your Rahu or the other way around, it will be very beneficial friendship. For instance, my best friend, she has her Saturn on my Rahu. And she taught me Saturn, the positive qualities of Saturn is discipline, self-control. So she taught me great many lessons of self-control, of discipline, of how to behave myself proper, And but it's not always easy to be around people who you have connections like this. You can't spend too long time together because too much of a Saturnian energy makes everyone unhappy. Imagine if you have always to behave, and in case the person doesn't judge you or criticize you, or if you always some difficulties are happening around you. It's not good for long-term relationship, but for friendships you can really learn something like discipline. Both sides can learn discipline, control, but the resentments can also grow over time in such relationship. But if we have Saturn with Ketu, or the male's Ketu, with the female Saturn, Ketu is a planet that ends past karma, and it usually would mean that in past life you had resentments with this person. You had maybe you were put in a situation where you had to endure, to overcome troubles and difficulties, And initially when you meet together, this Saturn will be very brought up to the surface. The initial maybe a year or a few months of your meeting, of your friendship, Saturn topics will be very strong again. This resentment, this detachment, this coldness that Saturn brings will be quite felt in the relationship. Or this topic of overcoming obstacles, or discipline, self-control. But the more you grow into the relationship, the less you get from difficulties and from Saturn's energy. So in long-term partnerships, it's a very good indication that you'll be having less troubles, it will be running more and more smoothly. So we like to see this in a relationship, marriage kind of relationship, living together relationship. In other relationships, it's not so crucial. But it's always great to get less of difficult planets like Saturn, of difficulties, of obstacles, of enduring, overcoming. So we want Ketu with Saturn in combinations of charts if it comes to love, but we don't want Rahu with Saturn because we'll be getting more and more of his difficulties. Then let's go to Mars, and which is the planet of fighting, is the planet of resolving. It's another cruel planet, it's another difficult planet. Again, when it's with Rahu will bring it more and more in your life. So you might be arguing more and more. You might be becoming more and more intolerant with each other, more and more angry, frustrated, Or you might have, even if you're not arguing, you might have to have more and more fights and battles in life, which can be good in some situations. If you have a business project together, this martial energy is very ambitious, very competitive, but not if you're living together as partners, spouses, because sooner or later one will get exhausted from this arguing, with this constant tension. Or even if they're not arguing, it's more like you get Mars in your life more when you're with this person. So you have to fight. Maybe you have to do a lot of court cases in your life, or a lot of battles to win, to overcome, or there is a lot of competition between your spouses. So we don't like that in marriage relationship, but it can be great in relationships that are, say, two people combining in a competitive team to win some competition or some project at work, because Mars energies will be magnified between them. So they'll be more competitive, and they'll be more, having a drive and impetus to succeed. Or if they're going to climb Mount Everest together, they have this combination. It's great, if it's your fitness instructor, you have this combination. He will bring, say, your Mars, say his Rahu is on your Mars, he will develop in you this Mars more and more. The other way around, Mars is physical energy, it's enthusiasm, it's being energetic, So, but in long-term relationship, it creates more tension, and you can feel much more aggravated eventually. If it's Ketu, then, of course, with your Mars, or the other way around, doesn't matter. It's going to be positive in long-term relationship and love, because what it usually indicates, Ketu is past life, if you have your Ketu with someone's Mars, it means that in a past life you probably had a lot of karma fighting together, or probably you were siblings that were always bickering and had a fallout and you never repaired it, and you come together in this life to repair this anger. So initially this relationship can be very tumultuous, very kind of aggressive or irrational, or too much Mars energy, is the god of war. But the more you're together, the less it becomes, the less and less, and eventually it's completed. The Martial energy will go out of your life. So it's very positive for relationship. You also, the person whose Ketu falls on the person's Mars, will help that person resolve anger issues in them. And even if this person is usually very angry one and very outside of the home, once they come back home, they'll never show their anger to their partner, because Ketu will help them diminish Mars, diminish this aggressive energy in their life. So it's great, because it means this couple will have less and less arguments, will never argue. Initially they will, because it's as if picking up a relationship that lasted in a past life, that ended up on a bit on a knife, and they haven't buried the hatchet. When you meet that person, you feel aggressive and angry probably at the beginning, or having to resolve Mars issues of overcoming, fighting with someone else even, or overcoming obstacles together, resolving obstacles, but initially they'll get less and less so. Or other people attacking them, not being happy with their relationship. But it gets better and better with time, and it diminishes. Mars disappears. All the anger between the people will disappear eventually. And you will help your partner resolve his anger issues as well. Now, we're getting to a more interesting planet. If it's the male sun with the female's Rahu, or a female's Rahu with a male's sun. Now we have something different. The sun is a very male planet. It's a planet of inspiration. It's actually the most idealistic planet in the horoscope. It shows your highest quality, your most noble, kingly qualities that you can possess, because the sun is the king, isn't it? And when a female meets a man whose sun is in the same sign as her Rahu, she'll be fascinated by him. Also, a male who meets a female whose sun is on the same sign as his Rahu, you're fascinated, because Rahu wants to suck out that nobleness, that beautiful qualities of the other person, and you look up to that person almost like a hero. He's almost inspirational. And when it's the male sun, it's a positive actually in relationship, because the male is a masculine planet and it's more positive. Male is a masculine planet, so he will show more of this nobility to the woman, more of this generosity that the sun is known for. The sun gives light shines on. It gives itself away. It doesn't ask for anything in return, and it's great because female energy is receiving. Females feel happy and love when they receive rather than when they have to give. A lot of women give too much. That's why they feel unhappy in love, let me tell you, when you're a woman, you always have to receive a little bit more than you give. And the woman will look up to the guy. He will be like inspiration to her. And it's an indication that this relationship can last for a long time, because the fascination is strong. The woman wants to suck more and more out these beautiful qualities of the man, and she makes them bring them out, this masculine qualities of nobleness, of generosity, of whatever the sun of initiation. She makes the guy show them more and more, because she's really fascinated by these qualities, and the law of attraction gives her more and more of that, the guy behaving like the kingly sun. But when it's the opposite way, the guy will still be very fascinated with those qualities of the woman, the solar qualities, and will put her on a pedestal, almost be fascinated. But in relationship, love relationship, long-term relationship, it's not so positive, because the sun is a masculine planet, so the guy will be getting more and more of those masculine qualities of the woman, which is initiative, which is, authoritative, being like the boss, being the king. And it doesn't always work so well in relationships, when the woman is the one that is the leader, the man sooner or later starts feeling less and less respected, so to speak, But initially it can be very strong bonding. But later on, we don't like it so much in long-term relationship, because it creates frustration. Masculine planet in the feminine chart, we don't want it accentuated more. We don't want the woman to be the one leading and telling what's going to happen and inspiring the guy all the time, For some reason, it doesn't work. It doesn't work so easy. But if it's not a long-term relationship, it's a friendship relationship, or it's a boss person, even if it's male or female, then it can be quite positive combination, because when a person comes into your life whose sun falls on your Rahu, they will inspire you to be more like the sun. They will inspire you, look up to them. If it's your boss, then you look up to him and think, wow, this is someone whose qualities I want, and who you try to imitate such a person. They are not very accessible, because the sun is a planet which wants to stay on its own, because when you get too close to it, you get burned. And you don't want to get burned, but if you have a more distant relationship, it can work perfectly. If it's not about a codependent love relationships, it's much easier, if it's a boss or if it's friends. So these people will bring that you have a combination Sun, Rahu, more this solar energy of nobility, of integrity in your life, of you're finding your own self-esteem. The Sun is self-esteem as well, and being a leader, and being more in the boss, the king, shining through, So but in long-term relationship, we don't want the female sun falling on the male's Rahu. It's not good. Or if it's Ketu, the Ketu of the male falling on the female sun, that's positive then, because he'll be getting less and less of her masculine qualities, which is great for a relationship. The woman has to be nurturing for a relationship to be happy and long. There are many relationships where the woman is not, but I'm not sure how happy they are, So this is positive for a relationship, but if the male sun is with the female's Ketu, this is negative for relationships. Because the Ketu hides, this Ketu hides this quality of the man, and the man will feel less dignified. She will seem like a less dignified person, like a less of an authority figure, like a less of a leader, like a less of an inspirational figure. Initially, she will be very drawn to him, because these Ketu and Rahu with the sun, it's very strong connection initially, because they had past life history together, for sure. When you see Ketu with sun, they were probably husband and wife, or a master and servant, but the connection was very bonded. One was really respecting the other, was really looking up to the other. One helped the other in a past life develop their solar qualities of activities, of shining, of being inspired, goal-oriented. But in this life, the woman will be seeing more and more of the man. If her Ketu is will be seeing less of those qualities in a man, initiation, leadership, inspiration, goal-oriented activities. So she might start disregarding him, and the guy might feel less respected with that. But initially, the connection is very strong. But when you see this combination, female Ketu, male Sun, it usually means that there will be a dissolution eventually of the relationship. But if it's female Sun and male Ketu, it's positive. It's promising a longer connection between the two. And this combination in particular is especially strong. Male Sun plus female Rahu, it really shows, it will show long-term connection. The people Rahu is like a hook, and it doesn't let the other person, get out easily, because Rahu wants more and more and respects what they see, and want more and more of this positive solar quality in the male. And in the male, the sun is positive, in the female, it's not very positive. Now, it was a bit more different, wasn't it? And now, male's Rahu is in the same sign with the female's moon. That is extremely positive. The moon is the female qualities in a woman: nurturing, caring, loving, showing emotions, being feminine. And when the male male's Rahu is in the same sign of the of the female's moon, she will get to showing more and more of those feminine qualities in her life. She will be more nurturing somehow, more like she'll be the perfect mother. He will respect her for the mother. He'll be fascinated with her femininity as well. The moon is how feminine a woman is, how receptive she is to him. And the woman, and this male will really help this woman get in touch with her feminine side, and she will help the male get in touch with his feminine side. He will respect her feelings, moon is feelings and inner world, and he'll help her work on respecting her own inner feelings and inner world and what it feels good for her. He will respect her feelings. There is nothing worse than a man not respecting a female's feelings. And that happens if a male's Ketu is with a female's moon. initially, these people were together in a past life again. The moon is very important in the woman's chart. Either she was the mother, either there was a child-mother relationship, or even a wife-husband relationship there, a nurturing, caring relationship. It was very strong. And these qualities were developed between the two in the past life. But because, and when they meet now, they immediately feel as if they met a soulmate almost. They like someone they've known forever, and they feel so comfortable with each other because they've done this before, you know. It feels very familiar. And they might come and say, oh, I met my soulmate. But when you see this combination between these two people, you know, when it's the female's moon with the male's Ketu, you know that sooner or later the male seeing her so wonderful and feminine at the beginning, it gets less and less. He starts seeing less and less feminine qualities in her, and she starts giving less and less feminine qualities, like caring, like nurturing him emotionally, like being responsive to him, listening to him, and he respects less and less her feelings. He doesn't, you know, register them so much anymore. So it's not so good. We don't want this combination. It's an indication for dissolution of the relationship. It will be strong at the beginning, but it will decline with time. What happens if the male's moon is with the female's Rahu? Well, it can be positive and it can be negative. It's positive when the moon of the male is a growing moon, and it's negative when it's a decreasing moon. So waxing moon, it's positive. Waning moon is negative. If you want to understand better what waxing and waning moon is, if you can't discover it in your horoscope, go to my teacher's website, and you can register there to see his videos. It's very, very cheap, and it's an amazing source of information. But just remember that sometimes it's positive, sometimes negative. There is a great fascination with each other again. When they see each other, they like so intensely fall for each other. It's almost like overpowering passions and emotions these people feel with each other. Whether it's male with the females, male with the Rahus with the female's moon, or male's moon with the female's Rahu, always the intensity is very strong, is very fascinated, excited with each other. But this one will last much longer, while this one, depending if the moon of the male is growing or if it's decreasing. If it's decreasing, it's not going to last so much. You know, the woman will get disappointed eventually. And then what happens if the moon of the male is with the Ketu of the woman? It can be positive if the moon is decreasing, now it's the opposite way around, or negative if the moon is growing. I'm not going to explain what growing, decreasing moon is. If you're students of astrology, you'll know. If not, you'll not. So we want the female Ketu with the male's moon. Immediately they will feel very drawn to each other. These are very strong connections. When you see them in a horoscope, this is like soulmate-ship relationships, you know, with whether it's Ketu or Rahu with the moon with the moon of one or the other of the partner. But in some cases it's very positive, in some cases it can be negative or positive, in some cases it's mostly negative, but always they're so drawn to each other initially. But this tends to stay longer in life. This tends to finish eventually. This tends to stay in the life if the male's moon is growing, and get dissolved, this relationship, if his moon is decreasing. And this tends to stay in the life if the male's moon is decreasing, and to get out of the life or to get dissolved this relationship if it's increasing. It's a bit complex, so you know, it's for more advanced students of astrology, but still you're getting the picture. And I'm going to go with the better planet. Say, Venus. It's a wonderful planet. It's the planet of affection. It's the planet of sensual pleasures, of sex. And also the Rahu. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female here. If you have a contact between Venus and Rahu, it's very positive, because Venus shows that the more you stay together, the more affection there will be between you, the more enjoyment of sensual pleasure, the more sexual intimacy, the more understanding and no arguments. Venus is harmony, understanding, beauty. Or if it's a friend of yours who comes in your life, you have this, they will teach you about beauty, or you will teach them about beauty and harmony and peace and pleasure and sensual pleasure as well, you know. But it's great in relationship. It shows more and more love between you. But if it's the other way around, Venus plus Ketu, Ketu will bring less and less. It's usually an indication that the Venus is the planet of the wife. And the person whose Venus is conjunct the other Ketu, is in the same sign as the other Ketu, usually means he was a wife of that person in a previous life. And they had affection, they had love already, and when they meet up again, they feel strongly drawn to each other initially. There is a sense of comfortableness, a sense of familiarity, sense of soulmateship. But and the love is very strong at the beginning, the sexual intimacy, the affection is strong, but they're getting less and less of that. They're finishing that relationship, they're resolving it. So if you see this in this chart, whether it's female or male, it's negative because they'll be getting less and less sex, less and less affection, the more they are together. They can stay together more as a platonic friends eventually rather than anything more passionate because the passion decreases there, you know. So Venus is good with Rahu and negative when it's with Ketu. It's indication of things resolving, letting go of. So the relationship can resolve when it's with Ketu, dissolve. Now, Mercury is the planet of having fun, is the planet of, whether it's the males or the females, is the planet of having the same enjoyment in life and having the same entertainment, enjoying the same things, communication as well. So when the Rahu is with Mercury, they'll get more and more of the Mercury energy. So they'll enjoy more of the same things, more of the same hobbies. They'll teach each other new hobbies they would enjoy. They'll have a great understanding and communication between them. Fun, games, play, friendship. Mercury is the planet of friendship. It's great. Sometimes you can meet someone who, you know, it's not a partner-partner relationship, but it's like you can meet someone who can teach you the value of friendship when you have this combination, Mercury and Rahu, who can teach you how to have fun in your life, how to enjoy similar entertainments, bring new interest in your life, new skills. Teacher, also it can be great combination between teacher and student because the person will be much more open to what the Rahu person or the Mercury person has to teach them, the new skills in their life. So it's amazing for any kind of relationship. But if we have Ketu with Mercury, again, initially you have a lot of common interest, a lot of mutual, a lot of understanding and communication, but it will get less and less. So usually it's a relationship where the people at the beginning, oh, they like the same music, they like going to concerts together or whatever, they have great friendship, but then this excitement dwindles, people's interests change, you know, little by little it kind of fizzles out and they even stop talking so much and communicating. It's not so positive. This is an indication of the relationship later on becoming less and less fun, less and less interesting. You know, you can imagine the rest, you know. And now Jupiter. Jupiter is the best planet. Jupiter is the planet of happiness. Jupiter is the planet of equal, of mutual, of understanding, of mutual philosophies, understanding about life. And it's great because you'll be getting more and more happiness in your life when you have this combination. Whether it's the male, the female, doesn't matter. It's really great. And this person can be like, one of the people, the Jupiter person can be like a teacher to the person with Rahu. They can develop together. When they stay together, the more they're together, they'll have similar understanding about life, similar understanding about the philosophy of life and how to live life, philosophy, you know, how the life should be lived, you know, what is right and wrong in life. And there is nothing so bonding because it gives you an inner sense of meaning. Jupiter is the planet of meaning, higher meaning. So when you have this combination, you feel like you're meant to be together. You're learning a lot from this person, whoever Jupiter is on your Rahu, but it's also reverse, you know. Whoever Rahu is on your Jupiter, you also can learn. They can help you develop your ability to understand life, to have meaning in life, to feel happy at where you are. You know, when you have some higher meaning in life, some higher understanding, it's always you feel more peaceful within yourself. Always you feel more happy within yourself. And Jupiter can help you. You have start having similar outlooks on life. Jupiter is the planet also of children. So if you have children together with this person, it's great because you have very similar understanding of how to, it might not be so initially, but the more you spend time with this person, the more you live together, you'll start having similar understandings on how to bring up children. You know, your mutual agenda can be children, bringing up children. You might be together to bring children to this world, you know. This is an indication of that. It's not always people without this combination also have children, but when they have this one, they tend to be on the same kind of mind about how these children have to be brought up, and educated. And also Jupiter is the teacher. They'll really learn from each other. They'll really develop their higher ability to understand the world, to understand the higher meaning of the world. But when we have Ketu with Jupiter, that's the sign of Jupiter, we don't like that. It's usually an indication that in past life, one of the person was a child to the other one, or they had a teacher-student connection. The other person really taught him a lot how to be happy, how to understand life, the higher meaning of life as well. And when they meet up, initially they'll have a lot of similar philosophies. They'll think the same about life. They'll understand life the same. It's not such a difficult position actually, but they'll get less and less of that. But it's not going to make or break a relationship. But it's not so good, because you'll be getting less and less of these Jupiter qualities of understanding, of happiness, of meaning and purposefulness in the relationship. But this is a great combination. I think I mentioned all of them. Yes, I have. Oh no, I haven't mentioned the Ascendant. The Ascendant plus Rahu, whether it's male or female, doesn't matter. It's extremely positive. It's an indication this relationship will be lasting. And you have to compare the ascendants only if you know the time of birth of both partners. If you know the time of birth just of one partner, just compare his ascendant if it's in the same sign as the Rahu of the other one. So this is extremely positive because Rahu is what we have to develop, what will stay in our life for a long time, and the ascendant is the other person. So we'll want more of, we'll want more of that other person. We'll be insatiable about him. We'll want more and more, and this is an indication they'll stay together for a long time in life. But if the ascendant is with Ketu, it's immediately strong connection between the two of them. Extremely strong. They were together in past lives for sure. And when they meet up again, they recognize themselves immediately. This is a strong indication of attraction, as when, Rahu with the Ascendant and Ketu is a strong indication of initial attraction, as like when Rahu or Ketu with the Moon or the Sun. These three are really intense attractions. But again, as with Ketu, it shows it's going to be getting less and less of that. So if the person looked magical at the beginning, you kind of get bored with them, or you see that the deal is not the same as initially. It's not going to get better than the beginning. At the beginning, how it was, it will just go downhill from there. It's usually an indication of dissolution. You can have a marriage with a person like that for 10 years, but eventually you kind of drift apart. Anyway, I hope you got it. It's a bit complex, but if you want a much more detailed examination of this, you can go to my teacher's website, or if you want to see if you have good compatibility, because a lot of people will not have any connections between Rahu, Ketu and their planets and vice versa. And the most important though is not so much those positions. These positions can give you extra depth and understanding about the relationship, but the most important is the compatibility between two people. And to know the compatibility, you can order my reports from astrological.com, which were made by my teacher again using an ancient Sanskrit technique, which is amazingly accurate. I've had thousands of those sold, and everyone is really happy with them. I don't have any complaints. And they're really amazing, and they're rare. They're the only one of its kind on the internet, and I'm one of the lucky ones to be partnered with my teacher and to be selling them. But they will show you the real picture, whether you can make it with someone, and then you can check those positions for further depth and understanding of the situation. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope you learned something new. I hope I didn't torture your minds too much. And I'll see you next time.